so annoyed. The postman sent me an email this morning and said the online shopping I did last week was going to be here today, but he still hasn't come. And I've been waiting for ages. Has someone ever promised you something and then it hasn't happened straight away? It's so hard to be patient and to wait. Sometimes it seems like the bigger the promise, the longer we have to wait and the more patience we have to have. You know, last week I was reading in the Bible about one of those amazing promises that God made to his people. You know how we drew that beautiful rainbow? So anyway, I was reading and God made this huge promise to a man called Abram. Way bigger than the email from the postman promising my parcel would come today. He told Abram and his wife Sarai that they should leave their home and go to a new land. Not only that, he promised them that Abram and Sarai would be the ancestors, the family of a huge nation, a great nation of many, many people. And God also said that Abram and his family would be a blessing to other people. So he didn't just promise one thing, he actually promised 3 things: land, family, and blessings. How amazing is that? But Abram was a little bit skeptical to start with because these weren't just little promises, these were huge promises. When Sarai heard this promise, she thought it was crazy. She laughed. But nonetheless, Abram and Sarai prayed and they trusted in God's promises and they followed God and they left their home and they went to a new land. And after a long while, they finally were blessed with a beautiful baby, a son by the name of Isaac. And from Isaac grew a great nation. That was Abram and Sarai's family. And like God promised, Abram's and Sarai's family were a blessing to many, many, many people. So in fact, God's promises did come true. They took a long time to happen, but God makes promises and he keeps them because he is our promise maker and our promise keeper. On top of all this, God gave Abram and Sarai a sign that they were part of God's family, another promise that they would be part of God's family forever. He renamed them to Abraham and Sarah. This was a promise that they would always be known to God. Often, when people make us a promise or we make them a promise, they might ask for a sign to prove that promise. Like when I got married, David asked me to marry him, and he gave me this beautiful ring as a sign that he was going to do that. And then when we got married, we both gave each other rings as a promise to keep to each other. And God asked Abraham and Sarah to make a sign themselves. He asked them to mark their hearts as a sign to everybody around that they would live a different life by serving and loving God alone. So kids, we know that through Jesus we get to be part of God's family forever. That is God's sign and promise to us that we are part of his family. I would love to hear your ideas about how we can mark our hearts and show the whole world that we are part of God's family as an outward sign of our promises to follow God and to follow Jesus. I'd love to hear your ideas. In the meantime, I better get back to waiting for this postman. But I'll see you next time.